These are the 1785 megabyte per second cards, faster than the 1.6 that you need to do this. If you are going to be raising your quality, if you go to a Q3, then you get to up to 2.4 gigabytes a second. Q1 gets you to 3.2 gigabytes a second. So if you're not using Q5, then a card like this is not going to get you what you need. But here's the thing. All of these compressions are great. Q5 looks amazing. It looks fantastic. I was chatting with my friend Robert, who's friends with William Helmuth, who is one of the DPs Blackmagic works with to develop their cameras. And they've done all kinds of testing. And, you know, William and the Blackmagic team both determines Q5 is good enough for anything. So I had already come to that determination on my own, just looking at it, being like, Q5 looks great. But to hear that William Helmuth and the Blackmagic team were like, yeah, Q5, just use it for everything. And so William shoots everything in Q5, whether he's making a feature film or anything else. It's fantastic because, and the difference between the constant quality, which is the Q5, and then the constant bit rate, which is like a specific, 12:1, etc. ratio, the Q5, Q3, it's an adaptive, it's a variable bit rate ratio. And when you have a more complex scene, it will chew through a higher bit rate. That's why you get this range, data rate from 595 to 1.6. If you were to switch to constant bit rate, you would see 12:1 gets you 793, 8:1 gets you 1.2, and 5.1 gets you 1.9 gigabytes. So Q5 is actually somewhere between 5.1 and 8.1 compression on the high end for a complex scene, but then it drops to below 12.1, like maybe 18.1, to make the bottom end of the Q5. So it's a variable bit rate, but it goes up to 1.6, which is about what you're going to get at, an 8.1, somewhere between an 8.1 and a 5.1. So I've used Q5 for everything. I've never had an issue. So there's that. And if you've got a terabyte, that gets you there. So my point in saying that is these cards are fairly cheap. You can get these cards for like $200 to $300 for a terabyte card. Actually, I have not checked that was what I paid for this, but memory's gone up, etc. So maybe it's a little more now. A couple $100, you get one of these cards, a terabyte, and you can record any frame rate on this camera. Now, the specific question here is about recording 12K. So let's just look at that. If we go 12K, max it out, open gate, your max frame rate is 80 frames per second. If we're in Q5, that is only 1.2 gigabytes a second, still fits on this card, and you get 20 minutes on a terabyte of that. Now, how often are we going to record 12K open gate? Like, really, be realistic. 80 frames a second, that's not what we film. We film 24 frames a second. Now, at 24 frames a second, when I change that in the calculator, you get 1.2 hours.